fine. It's fine.
If you feel like that's what you want to do, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth, because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Come on.
Way to start the day, or is that the way to start the day? It's just impossible to not smile and be happy. Shockingly. So thank you, Point of Light. Oh, what a treat to have you back in the house. So my name is Sue Witter. I'm one of the practitioners here and an intern, and I am just so grateful to have you here today to take the time out of your busy schedule to stop and honor the truth of who you are. It is a privilege to have you here, whether you're here in person or with us virtually, and we are grateful. So today is, as always, an exciting day. So we'll start with our vision statement. Yes, it's there. Excellent. So if you'll repeat with me, we are a loving, joy-filled community honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles. And so it is. It is, I'm taking a class, and one of the things we're talking about is vision statements. And whenever I read ours, it just resonates in my heart that learning and living these principles is an extraordinary thing. So with that, I will just say, let's take a deep breath and relax and allow the presence and the activity of Spirit to move in to this day.
us how deeply we are connected to that one spirit, that divine spirit, that sweet spirit. Whatever name that you give sweet spirit, it is all God. That living presence of love and joy and peace. And all that is good in this universe is God. And knowing that we are all connected, we are all one with that divine spirit, with God. And I claim and affirm this in this day at West Valley Center for Spiritual Living, that we are connected and we are the divine expressions of that beautiful sweet spirit. And I speak a word of blessing for all in this room and all that are not here in this room. I speak a word of blessing for the entire planet and the entire universe, that everyone is in the divine right space, the divine right time. And I speak a word of blessing for Point of Light, knowing that their beautiful music just touches our hearts and souls, and knowing that we are here to receive the beautiful harmony that they provide. And a word of blessing for Reverend Clyde, knowing that he is speaking the words of God that flow through him, the divine words that we are here to receive, that are perfect. And I speak a word of blessing for all faith traditions, knowing that there is one path to the one God. And with great gratitude, I release my words into the universe, knowing that it is done and it is so. And together we say, and so it is. My reading today is from Creative Ideas from our founder, Ernest Holmes. And this is on the chapter called The Gladness of Living. Affirmative prayer means that we clear the mind of all doubt and fear and turn in faith to the great giver of life. It means that we become aware of the presence of God within and around us, here and now. It means that we affirm this presence and accept it quietly, calmly, and peacefully in all of its fullness. We let go of every anxious thought, surrender every doubt and fear. We look out upon the world and say that it is our world, and it is a good world because it is God's world. In this knowledge, we receive confidence and inspiration from the source of all life, and divine love guides our every action. Let's take a moment to absorb those words. And so it is.
from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost our mind. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong. Say that you bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. A million dreams, the one I see, the vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna
Thank you, Point of Light. Oh my goodness, that is like one of my all-time favorite songs, and that is just a way for me to start off my talk. So I definitely do appreciate that. I have to tell you a funny story real quick. So my dog, I have a dog named Axel. I'm sure a lot of people hear the stories all the time. Well, he plays really rough, right? And so so he knows now if he wants me to play with him, he has to bring a toy, and then we play with the toy because he bites really hard. Well, he brought me a toy, of course, this morning, and lesson learned for me is you don't play with the dog before Sunday service. So, I was playing really rough with him, and I feel like I pulled my back out. So he had fun. I didn't. But anyways, and then we come in here, and we sing this happy song, and I'm like over here trying to dance, and I'm like, rickety moving around, but just beautiful song. So thank you. So welcome, everybody. I'm Reverend Clyde Goins. I'm the assistant minister. Reverend Karen is taking a day off. She's doing well. Her and I, this was planned for her to take off this today and allow me to speak. I had to convince her, but she let me do it. And so she let me speak today. And so she'll be back next week. And it's really important we have our business meeting. So hopefully everybody attends our business meeting. We've got a couple new board members that we need to vote on. And we have a lot of good information that we're going to cover with you. All right, so the title of my talk today is Cosmic Consciousness. And I want to paint a picture this morning about what is consciousness. A couple weeks ago, I shared with Reverend Karen that I felt my spirituality was very law-based. And I have this urge that I want to explore the more mystical side of spirituality. I also shared with the men's group at breakfast one morning that I had that same spiritual nudge of exploring that mystical spirituality. So I apologize, men's group. I know that what we discuss in the circle is supposed to stay in the circle. So Dr. Richard Buck's book, Cosmic Consciousness, plopped into my lap at the very moment that I was ready to receive. And that was no accident. When we are in the flow of life, life will support us. And then in our Wednesday night study group, we are reading the chapter on cosmic consciousness, and Ernest Holmes started the chapter off with Dr. Buck's definition of cosmic consciousness. So Dr. Richard Buck was a Canadian psychiatrist in the late 1900s, and he defines cosmic consciousness as one's consciousness of his unity with the whole. The interesting thing about the book, it was published in 1950. As I was reading the chapter on cosmic consciousness and the Science of Mind textbook, I felt like I had a connection with Ernest Holmes. I felt like I was studying cosmic consciousness with Ernest Holmes. We talk about consciousness all the time, but it feels like all the pieces of the puzzle was coming together for me. So Ernest Holmes says, cosmic consciousness is not a mystery. It is the self-knowingness of God through man. Illumination will come as man more and more realizes his unity with the whole. We are spiritual beings on a journey called life. Yes, we have jobs, we have families, we have titles, we have responsibilities, but our sole purpose is to understand and accept our relationship with God. Illumination occurs. The more we realize our relationship with God, the illumination will occur. We see life differently. We feel the presence of love. We move through challenges with non-resistance. Julie. The image that comes to me when I think about the feeling, about feeling illuminated is driving in an express lane on the highway. I'm not sitting stuck in the traffic with all the blockage. I'm in the flow of life. So Dr. Buck describes the evolution of consciousness in 3 stages. The simple consciousness can be described by the animal kingdom. Dogs are conscious of their bodies and surroundings. Animals understand that they are separate from everything else, but that's all they know. When we move to self-consciousness, we have the awareness of being separated from everything, but we also have the ability to think objectively about ourselves. A fish in water can never imagine the life would be like outside of water. And sometimes, to our own demise, we are constantly imagining our life differently. Sometimes we're thinking the grass is greener on the other side. Well, I'm here to tell you the grass is not greener on the other side, that we need to water our grass and take care of our grass. But that's a whole other talk for another Sunday. Cosmic consciousness includes simple and self-consciousness, but now we focus on our relationship with the whole. Who am I and why am I here? Dr. Buck says, along with consciousness of the cosmos, there occurs an intellectual enlightenment, an indescribable feeling of elevation and joyousness. We begin to understand a sense of immortality, a consciousness of eternal life, not a conviction that we shall have this, but a consciousness that we already do. We know that we know. In the Science of Mind, we teach the 4 kingdoms of consciousness to understand our spiritual growth and maturity. We start in the bottom left-hand corner, which is to me. It's victimhood. Everything is happening to me, and I don't understand why. Sometimes we call this stage living unconsciously. And sometimes we can recognize people that are in this stage. Then we move up to the next quadrant, the second quadrant, by me. We take personal responsibility of our life and our happiness. I am choosing the life I want to experience. I understand spiritual principles and laws, and I live consciously. We understand that we're co-creating life and we're becoming manifesting machines. This is what I meant when I feel like my spirituality was very law-based. Then what happens is we drop down into the third quadrant, which is through me. We realize our connection with God, and we understand that we are individualized expressions of God. We are the conduit for life to express and experience more life. And then we rise again up to the fourth quadrant, as me. We accept oneness. We feel the connection with everything, and there is only one life. That life is God's life, And that life is good, it's joy, it's peace, it's harmony, and it's love. So I can give you a simple example of a personal experience of being in that fourth quadrant. One Friday night after we had Axel for about a month, again, Axel's our dog, Mark and I took Axel for a walk in Thunderbird Park. And it was one of those beautiful Arizona fall nights. The weather was just perfect. So we're walking along the canal, and this part of the canal that we're walking along, it was really overgrown with all the bushes and the plants, and it was just beautiful and lush looking. So the three of us are walking along, just enjoying each other's company. I experienced so much peace and harmony and love in that moment. I felt connected to all of life, and it was good. Nothing to do, just be. So I need to give credit to Reverend Karen for adding the infinity symbol to this diagram, because it's a perfect addition to explaining how we move through the kingdoms of consciousness all the time. We never stay in one kingdom too long because we're having a human experience. I do want you to understand that we move up from victimhood by taking personal responsibility and our consciousness expands. And we see life a little clearer. And because life always wants more, we begin to fall again and go inward. We move down to the third kingdom where we understand it's more important to focus on what's going on inside of us than what's going on in the world around us. And as we go deeper into our connection with Spirit, we begin to rise again. All the false beliefs fall away, and the veil that keeps us separated from God is removed. I added self-consciousness to the left side of the diagram to realize and accept that we are separate from the world. We are to realize we are separated from the world around us, and that we start labeling things, judging things, and creating things. This is a very law-based spirituality. I added cosmic consciousness to the right side of the diagram, because this is where we accept that we are part of the whole, that we are no longer separated. This is the mystical side of spirituality. So I want to dive deeper into self and cosmic consciousness, but first let's talk a little bit about evolution of intelligence. Dr. Buck also discusses the evolution of language, music, color in his book. And we're talking about hundreds and thousands of years of evolution. Precepts are our sensory impressions, a sound that we hear or the objects that we see. So if you look around the room, you can see all the precepts all around us. We are constantly bombarded by precepts. So recepts are groupings of precepts. We begin to name things. So now look around the room again, and then now you can start naming those precepts. So Dr. Buck provided a great example about the evolution of color. The first two colors that appeared in the language many years ago was red and black. He mentioned that when the I think it's Homeric poems were written in the Bible by Greek authors, they never mentioned the color blue when they were describing the ocean and the sky. And if you've seen any pictures of Greece, blue is in your face. But the color blue was not in their vocabulary during that time. Concepts are groupings of recepts. We begin to form languages, models, and theory. We come to church to learn about spiritual principles and our relationships with God. Intuition is grouping of concepts and spirituality. We develop our spiritual practices to stay in the flow of life. This is where it gets sexy and even messy. So close your eyes for a second and think of a Christmas tree. What does your Christmas tree look like? Okay, now you can open your eyes. So here's an example how we are individualized expressions of God. This is how we experience and express life differently, but it's all the same life. We all have an image of a Christmas tree. The picture on the left is a picture of Mark's expression of a Christmas tree. And we had to buy a bigger Christmas tree because he wants to express more. The picture on the right is a picture of my Christmas tree. And Mark calls that Christmas tree a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. But the reason this tree is so special to me is that my mom made 20 stockings with their counter cross-stitch designs. And when I look at this Christmas tree, it reminds me of a piece of art that was made with love. So Ernest Holmes says, the Word of God sets the law in motion. The result is creation. The Word is the mold which, is acting through the law, produces form. As there are many words, so there are many forms, each distinct and each an individualized idea of God. Christmas trees look different for you, for me, and all around the world. Each unique, special, and perfect. As we move from simple consciousness to self-consciousness, we add color to life through our individualized expression of God. So let's talk about simple consciousness. It's really the animal kingdom. Animals know that they are separate entities from the environment. They can associate pleasure, pain, fear with images. When I put my running shoes on in front of Axel, he knows I'm going to go running and he gets excited. So the other night, this was so funny, the other night I was downstairs in the dining room and I was working and I was trying to be really quiet, and Mark and Axel were upstairs asleep, and I decided to have a piece of chocolate. So I'm being very quiet and I'm opening my piece of chocolate, and before I know it, Axel's sitting right beside me and staring at me. And I was just amazed. It's like, how could he see, or how could he hear that candy? Me unwrapping that candy. I was really intentionally being quiet. So animals have instincts to eat, procreate, create shelter for their offsprings, and raise their babies. We all have that same divine wisdom in us. So we are self-conscious and always creating life, either consciously or unconsciously. I added the fourth kingdom diagram on the bottom of this screen here, and the first two kingdoms describe self-consciousness. We live in victimhood if we do not think that we have a choice. Life is happening to us. And when we learn about spiritual principles and how to use the law, we become great manifestors. We learn to live consciously and co-create our lives. We live consciously and become observers of our thoughts and our beliefs. We understand and accept that we are a child of God and we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. We are creating, inventing, and evolving. Think about the evolution of transportation. We started out on horseback and now we are traveling to outer space. Now look at your life. When you were born into this world, you were a naked baby. And now look where you are today. So Ernest Holmes says, illumination will come as man more and more realizes his unity with the whole. We begin to operate at a higher level. We are conscious of our thoughts and our emotions. We are open to divine wisdom and intelligence. We are in the flow of creativity and abundance. We have all the attributes of the simple and self-consciousness, but now we begin to tap into our intuition and that divine guidance. We are focused on the unity with God and the universe. The cosmic consciousness is represented by the right side of the kingdoms of consciousness diagram, the mystical side. I know that God and life is operating through me. I am the conduit for life to express and experience more life. And then we rise up to awareness and acceptance of oneness. There is only one God, only good, and only love. We normally don't stay there long, but as we continue to evolve, who knows where we will be in 1,000 years from now. So I'm sure you've heard people say, man, only if I knew this stuff when I was a kid. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're teaching this stuff to kids in kindergarten school. I have a very close friend of mine in Dallas who has a focus ministry who teaches spiritual practices in school. Can you imagine what those kids will be like when they get our age? They will be manifesting machines and more. So I want to bring you back to this slide that I created. And I intentionally created the cosmic oval. It extends out a little bit from the picture itself. It was not a mistake, and I was not messy with my slides. I'm only trying to express that we continue to evolve. We are in self and cosmic consciousness now. We study spiritual principles and have spiritual practices. Spiritual practices help us develop our cosmic consciousness, and we have classes that teach sacred study, spiritual mind treatment, meditation, visioning, volunteering, tithing, gratitude, forgiveness, compassion, affirmations, and mantras. The spiritual principle I want to discuss today is visioning. First, I need to explain the difference between visualization and visioning. Visualization is a technique whereby you mentally picture what you desire to have or do. It is limited by what we can imagine as our highest possibility. Visioning is the practicing of opening to God as you. It is catching the divine ideal for your possibilities. It allows you to transcend limited thinking to align with divine wisdom. Michael Beckwith is a minister from the Agape Church in California. He introduced visioning in 2008. Here's a perfect example how we continue to evolve spiritually. Ernest Holmes did not speak of the spiritual practice visioning. Michael Beckwith was open to that divine guidance. And it's no different than an artist creating beautiful music or a piece of art. I believe when we're creating something, we are dancing with the divine. So Michael Beckwith says, the difference between visualization and visioning is the difference between directing spirit to have our way and allowing spirit to have its way. I love the practical benefits of spiritual practices, and I love visioning. First, it feels playful to me. So when I vision, I get a lot of images. Some people get colors, some people hear sounds, some people hear words, see words, other people have feelings of experience feelings. Visioning is a guided meditation where we ask for divine guidance. And there are 5 questions that we ask. And if you're asking the questions, you're not open to divine guidance. I remember when I first started visioning, I would say, no, that's not the right answer. That doesn't make any sense. But the more I practiced, the more I began to trust my intuition. When we vision personally or collectively, we do it 3 different times, and we harvest the themes that come from the visioning. So my ordination was based on what came out of my visioning with a group of loving ministers and practitioners. So here's the secret sauce for visioning. The practice teaches us to trust our intuition. The practice teaches us to stay open to divine guidance. When I have something to figure out, I just keep posing the question and stay open to receive. I know about 95% of my job, and the rest I know will come to me as I allow life to unfold through me. When we are in the flow of life, we don't need to worry because the answers will come to us. All we need to know is already within us. The guidance will come to us. Michael Beckwith says, by surrendering your mind to the infinite mind already within you, you are able to access the bigger picture and to perceive your part in its unfoldment. So we're evolving as individuals and collectively as a community and as a nation. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. We all the people that we meet and all the experiences that we have are helping guide us on this beautiful journey called life. When we sit back and we look at our life, can you recognize how life experiences helped you guide you to where you are today? We are all living in this place of cosmic consciousness. We attend spiritual services. We're learning spiritual principles. We have various forms of spiritual practices, and we're deepening our relationship with God. I love our religion because we don't teach you how to think. We provide you with the tools so you can discover your personal relationship with the divine. I still love the net that Reverend Karen made that she created that represents Indrid's net. And we have it hanging in the back of the room, and that's what this picture is. It reminds me that we are all connected. It reminds us that we're never alone. The reflections of the gems that bounce off of each other reminds us that we are always supported by each other. And together we shine brighter, and we are changing the world. So I want to close with a quote from Michael Beckwith. When one individual is true to his or her vision, it assists in liberating everyone. When even one individual neutralizes or requalifies the thought forms of separation and lack and limitation that runs rampant in the human experience, he or she creates a spiritual vortex that allows others to be pulled into the same vibration. And so it is. So let us pray. So as we sit relaxed in our chair in this beautiful, loving space that we call West Valley Center for Spiritual Living, we stay open to that consciousness of knowing that cosmic consciousness, that connection with that divine, that expression of life itself. We allow ourselves to go deeper into the knowingness that there is one perfect life. There is one true expression, and we call that God. There is no separation. There is only one existence. We are never outside of it. And what I know is that from this one perfect place, life is forever evolving to the highest and best good, because life only evolves to the good. And what I know and I believe that my life is part of this life. And so if all life is unfolding to the best and highest good, I know that my life right here, right now, is unfolding to the highest and best good. I know that each one of us show up to be the best that we can at any given moment, because we are a true expression of life itself. We are that love. We are that creativity. We are that peace. We are also mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. We're here to experience and express more life. We're here to expand our consciousness and become united with that divine presence of God. Recognizing, realizing, accepting that one perfect life, that we are on this journey, and it's unfolding right here in front of us, and we simply accept it. And I claim this truth for each one of us. I claim the truth that each one of us lives in a place of abundance. And that abundance could be money, it could be creativity, it could be love, it could be health. We live in a place, and from a place of true expression of love, that every person that we meet are agents of God, angels of God, that are guiding us on our path, that are helping us learn and grow and live every step of the way. So I know that we are blessed today and every day. I know that our lives are unfolding perfectly, beautifully, and harmoniously. And I know that we are changing the world and making this a better place for everyone. So I'm so grateful that we come together every Sunday to remember the truth that we are that beautiful individualized expression of God. I'm so grateful for our community that we come together and love and support one another and recognize the beauty that each one of us bring to life itself. And I'm so grateful for my personal relationship with the divine, knowing that each one of us has that same personal, beautiful, loving relationship. So we just rest in this consciousness of good, this consciousness of love, knowing that life is good, because it's all good, because it's all God. And I simply just release these words into the law, knowing it's already true, already done, and together we say, and so it is.
Choose to judge or walk away, or change the course of this whole day. We've got to fill the world with love, lift it higher, fill it with hope. Yet if for us we can make a change for our future, shine our lights and lead the way. We can fill the world with love. There's a woman at work so stoic and cold, a little boy with bruises who lost his soul, stranger on the subway lost a friend. At times it seems the pain will never end. People in our lives, you know at least one, so filled with anger, their world's undone. Can't read minds to see their truth, what battles they face trying to get through. We've got to fill the world with love, lift it higher, fill it with hope. Yet enfold us, we can make a change for our future. Shine our lights and lead the way. We can fill the world with love. Stories the same, we've heard it all before. It's bigger 'cause we're saying we can all do more. With our time, our money, a kind word to a friend. There's power in love, we're saying it again.
Yeah, check it out, yo. Look around you. What do you see? I wanna know, what's it gonna be when you answer the call, or will you walk away? Close your eyes and pretend, or will you brighten someone's day when you cut only your own? Or be a blessing simple counts, give your time, give your treasure, whatever the amount. So what you gonna do with all that love? What you gonna do? You see, it's one act of love at a time. It's up to me and you.
We've got to fill the world with love, lift it higher, fill it with hope. Yet enfold us, we can make a change for our future. Shine our lights and lead the way. We can fill the world with love, lift it higher, fill it with hope. Yet enfold us, we can make a change for our future. Shine our lights and lead the way. We can fill the world with love.
Shining lights.
Fill the world with love.
Lift your hands up. Lift your hands up. Say it with me.
Fill the
Say it
world
with me.
with love.
One act of love at a time, yeah. One act of love at a time, yeah. One act of love at a time. Say it. One act of love at a time. Say it. One act of love at a time. Oh my goodness, they bring us in with happy and send us out with that. It just doesn't get much better. Really, truly. Wow, thank you so much.
Such a joy. So it is time for us to honor the giving and receiving principles of our philosophy. And we have a black box in the back of the room and one out at home space in the lobby. We have a new stewardship program, platform that allows you to give online, either on a recurring basis or one at a time. So please take time to honor the place where you're spiritually fed, because that's the whole purpose. So if you'll repeat with me the giving affirmation: I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. So we have March 6th, the business meeting. So all the membership people, we'll be asking the people with membership to vote for a new board member. And you'll get an update on how things have gone with the church for the past year. And Reverend Karen will give us a glimpse at the vision that she's holding for us for the future. So with that, you have anything, Clyde, to announce? Yeah, oh, but you didn't have any announcement that you wanted? Okay, so that's it. So take it away one more time.
And Kendra has joined us for this one. So thank you, Kendra.
Oh my gosh, I love everything.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it all go. And this is what you got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for
I'm just amazed by Kendra. She can just about do anything. That's incredible. Thank you, Point of Light. Thank you, thank you. We love all of your music. So I have a closing affirmation. If you repeat after me: I recognize God in, through, and all around me.
I recognize God in, through, and all around me.
And my life is good.
And my life is good.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.